Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, you have the top 3 lockdown builds in NBA 2K25. So as you can see, we have the 6'4", 3-and-D type build where it's going to be a really elite shooter on the game while also being a great fight through lockdown. We have two different variants of the switchable lockdown defender, which is a 6'8" or 6'7", that's meant to be able to guard ball as well as also guard bigs intentionally. Now, they both have really high interior defense. Granted, obviously it's tough to stop really tall post-scorer type builds with a 6'7" and a 6'8", unless you have really elite interior defense or block and stuff like that, good stick skill and timing and stuff. But for most bigs out there, especially considering I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen, this is a very undersized big meta game where it's a lot of 6'8", 6'7" poppers and stuff like that. And I know it sounds crazy, but in 3s, 2s, even, you know, like 5s, in some cases, you see undersized bigs big time in this game because the speed is so important. But anyway, when it comes to the switchable lockdown defender type builds, it's most valuable to have 2 of them on the court at the same time, whether that's 3v3 or 5v5, anything like that. It's really elite to be able to switch with your teammate on screens when you have one on the head of the pick and roll and one on the back of it as well, aka one on the point guard, one on the center. So it makes it really elite when it comes to switching screens, even if you use both these two builds right here, duplicate one of them or duplicate both of them, whatever the case may be. But anyway, that's the switchable lockdown defender. Then we also have the Ego Lock, the 6'6", fight through everything, elite speed, agility, perimeter, steal, everything, Ego lockdown build. So let's start from left to right. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub, new to noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to one to 2,000 likes. So with the 3-and-D type build, I've been seeing this in the Pro-Am a lot. This is a really menacing type of build to be on the court. You have elite offense and elite defensive presence. And I understand you're not seeing elite offense out of this in terms of the versatility of it. However, you still have the Zion dribble style. You got a couple of SIGs, and that's not the intention, is to be able to dribble and put the ball on the floor. It's that you as a cutter, you as a spot up, are elite. People can't just leave you by any means. 95 3-pointer is nasty work to be on a lockdown defender. And for that matter, to still have like the 96 perim as well with the Hall of Fame on-ball menace, Hall of Fame challenger, legend immovable enforcer, still 94 steal, some block, 80 interior defense as a 6'4" as well. And then yes, I understand the speed maybe isn't as elite as a 6'4" could achieve. If you wanted to, you know, skip out on some perimeter, go down to like 92. Obviously, you can still keep Hall of Fame immovable and all the, you know, challenger on-ball menace on gold and stuff like that. And then buy back some points off the strength being dropped down to like 85 or, as you can see in this case, 91. Here's the deal though, like it's crazy work how this immovable enforcer works. Let me show you guys how this is so crazy. So look at this fellas. The Hall of Fame immovable threshold is 91 strength and the legend threshold is 92. It's actually insane. Now here's the deal. This is where it applies in my opinion to the 6'7" and the 6'6" a lot better, is if you were to go with like a Hall of Fame immovable enforcer type build, you would then be able to max +1 it to Hall of Fame, or in the 6'7's case, and the 6'6 for that matter, when you have 78 block or 74 block, Paint Patroller is a tier 2 badge. Now, for the 6'4", we can't really achieve it. Obviously, as you can see, you have to be 6'6" or taller, and that doesn't apply to us in this case. So there's not a lot to use in the tier 2, because as you can see, a movable enforcer is then taken up. You have pretty much meaningless stuff. It's just going to have to be something like, I don't even know. I mean, you're left with not many options, to be honest with you. So that is the downside of the 6'4", is that you're very, very limited in terms of the tier 2, like, you know, max +1s or anything like that. To be honest with you, if you wanted to skip out on the immovable enforcer and just use it because of that, I do understand, but I really do think that 96 perim with like the on-ball menace and challenger and stuff like that upgraded is nice. Again, if you wanted to, you know, maybe go lower on the 6'4" perimeter and stuff like that, I understand. But here is just the grand scheme of things. Look at the build, because I know we did a lot of talking about the ifs, ands, and whats about it, you know. But again, 96 perim, 94 steal, great interior, great 3-point shooting is the main point of like just being the focal point of the build too. I mean, this is a true 3-and-D build. You could put it on the hash on offense and a 5-out for that matter, or you can even put it on the hash in a pick and roll offense, to be honest, as long as you don't need a secondary ball handler where the point guard, center, and maybe a corner spot up can do the majority of the work. Like for instance, a tonic on the court essentially in a corner. Man, you could really get away with a build playing the hash on this. This would be fire for sure. But obviously, you know, not a lot of offensive implementation about it as far as being a ball handler or a passer, but again, a good enough dunker, a good enough 3-point shooter. So that's what we got on the 6'4" as far as a 3-and-D type build. So Moving along to the switchable lockdown defender type build. This is essentially a power forward, but if you run 2 of them at the 3 and the 4, or in a 3v3 term, if you ran 2 of them at the 2 and the 3, essentially, this is where they can really play off each other super elite. So both have the ability to play lanes. You're probably going to be max plus wanting the interceptor or rebound chaser or something in that nature. You could potentially do one of the on-ball defensive badges or something like that, but as you can see, tier 2 immovable, and I mean, that's a pretty valid option as well. The 6/8s, however, do get box out beast into tier 2, so that may be another valid option, but either way, more options never hurt anything. And as you can see, they also get paint patroller in tier 2. So there's a lot of valid options as far as something you could go to for a tier 2 ability. And then for tier 1s, obviously, we already went over the stuff between like interceptor, etc., etc. So yes, the pass act is lacking for a quote-unquote power forward build, but here's the deal. Outlet pass is already a bit tough in this game, in my opinion. Even with like 85 pass act, they can still get the job done, but I just don't believe that you necessarily need to be like in a type of role like that. Outlet passes are extremely hard. If you're getting skeptical of the free throw, trust me, I already tried taking this down. It's like, what am I going to do? 1 pass act? I mean, for 10 free throw rating, or like even go, what, down to 68 free throw? Cool, I get 68 pass act. It's like, I just don't think it's worth. It was super cheap. I just went with it. So obviously with these builds, the tough deficiency on offense is going to have to be obviously your shooting. But you can still get the silver set shot specialist with the 78 3-pointer. Obviously, it's a little bit of a weak cutter, but it's still got enough dunk to get the job done and get standing dunk packages. 2 of them for that matter, 1 at 40, 1 at 45. And overall, it's meant to just be a menace on defense, be able to switch everything, play point guards, play bigs, play every single position on the court. And when you have 2 of them, it makes it so you can both hawk lanes. We do things called pre-switching, where you essentially play one side of the screen and your teammate plays the other, and you're just ready to drop down to the big as soon as he goes on the slip. You're hawking lanes, you're playing good on-ball D, you have the interior D high enough to have that post lockdown on silver as well, and 84 block for the paint patroller on silver. Also, my bad, I had to make one more tweak. I kind of forgot that even though we had 94 defensive rebound, we didn't have enough strength for the box out beast on Hoff. So a couple minor tweaks, getting that strength to 89. If you wanted to go a little bit more strength up to 91 and find a way to do that, you could also get the Hoff immovable. Again, these are a couple templates for you just to have a couple options. I mean, me personally, I'm of the belief that if you really wanted to take your pass act down completely, I mean, you could make something like this work, in my opinion, for sure. I've seen it firsthand too. We have Apollo on what I'm actually going to show you for the second build. Let's just go ahead and show the second variant as well with this other switchable lockdown defender at the 6/7. And yeah, this is exactly the build that he's using as far as the pass accuracy. Now listen, hear me out, fellas, before you click off the video or anything like that. You're like, this guy's a lunatic, absolute garbage builds and stuff like that. Listen, bro, I mean, your whole role is to play elite defense, right? And with this build right here, it's still even switchable with great interior defense, prim D, steal, block, D-board, all that, speed, agility, strength, everything. But I mean, let's be real, this is a spot up build. It is truly something that's getting the ball a very rare amount of times per game. And when you do get the ball, it's generally for you to have a wide open corner shot. Like, that's realistically what you're expected of when it comes to playing on these 6/7 and 6/8 spot up builds. So again, the whole point of it is that you have enough dunk to still cut with the 50 and 45 as far as like, yes, that gets packages and stuff, you know, and gets the job done. It's nothing pretty, but it's still good enough. 79 3-pointer also still gets the job done. Not pretty, but it's okay. It's good enough. And if you wanted to be more of an offensive focal point, again, the 6'4" is probably more so what you're looking at, because to make up for the fact that you are on this 6'7", I'd like to think you want to be versatile when you're this tall, you know? You'd want to have the block in the interior D and in the defensive rebound and stuff. Do you really want to just be a fight through lock at 6'7" and 6'6"? In my opinion, I think that's limiting yourself a little bit in a game where fading off screens and stuff like that is so meta. To be able to switch onto the big when you get outran on the screen is a very, very important trait in my opinion. And then even to have the ability of like crazy press game where you can get down on those guards super effectively. And again, the 92 strength for that. Legend immovable, you got great speed, great rebounding, the prim D, steal, all that. So let's talk about why 95 perim instead of 96. So obviously it's hard to afford the 96 and the agility can't go high enough for that on-ball menace. So to go 95, as you can see, like the whole point is at 92 is where we would generally be shooting for a threshold, but the 94 is the immovable on legend and then the challenger on Hall of Fame at 95. So that's why we're going for that type of threshold. Now, as you can see with the tier 2 badges, once again, we're able to afford a movable in tier 2. Now, what I think is really fire about that is it makes it so we don't have to use our max +1 for the tier 2 on it. And you could do something like Paint Patroller in tier 2 and put that to gold to make up for the fact that you're 6'7". It's either that, or once again, you could go Box Out Beast and, you know, sustain a couple more big man related things about the build. So you'd have like the Gold Rebound Chaser, Legend, Box Out Beast, Legend Immovable, all that stuff. But again, I would probably lean on a little bit more likely the Paint Patroller. I think that'd be a really fire one to use the Max Plus one on. And then probably Set Shot Specialist on the tier 1, or if you wanted to go with a different tier 1, you could go like Legend Challenger, maybe Hall of Fame On-Ball Menace, something of that nature. Or you could still do the classic lockdown thing and put your Interceptor to Legend. And also, I did want to mention with these builds, you can see the 6'7 is a much more usable in terms of the cap breakers, where you can get that 99 steal. The problem with the 6'8 is, and that we ran into with Apollo, just to keep you guys on alert for that, if you go any higher on the weight, you're getting into a threshold where the agility is not high enough to sustain that, you know, gold perimeter defensive related badges stuff. So like even if you have 92 prim, you don't get On-Ball Menace on gold because you, as you can see, you need 80 agility. So you get into a weight threshold where, you know, even if you were to go for the 96 rebound, it's still not affordable. So even if you were to try to get that Legend Rebound Chaser, it just doesn't work out off the Max Plus one. Technically that's Hall of Fame Rebound Chaser if you go 96. But yeah, so on top of that, you can't even go high enough on the weight on a 6'8 as a small forward. You potentially could as a power forward. Let's go ahead and just showcase that. So yeah, you definitely would be able to do that. But again, that makes your Prim D a little too low and the agility definitely too low. So that's where the beauty of the 6'7 is where you can still afford the cap breaks off the steal, or, you know, in some cases rebounding. But I'd prefer using the cap breaks on steal and go for 99. And then boom, you'd have some utility in that, whereas the 6'8 doesn't. So just wanted to keep you guys on alert for that. That's how me and Apollo kind of deemed that it was not really worth the 6'8 being continued to use after he was able to get the cap breaks, because a remade 6'7 like this is going to be so disgusting on ball, and just like, you know, even to start it on back end or something like that is still gross with that Legend Interceptor, and that just comes naturally. Same with Glove as well. Even though Glove isn't a great badge in this year's game, still, you don't even have to use the Max Plus ones in tier 1 at that point, so then you can for sure use it on something like Challenger, On-Ball Menace. It's a pretty nasty lock build, man. All at the expense of what I even forget about sometimes, even being on the court, 40 pass hack. So I understand it's something that a lot of people are going to hate on, but so be it. You know, I'm not even here for any of that shenanigans or the nonsense of people saying that it's something they should be fearful of. In my opinion, you're a role player, you're a spot up, you shouldn't be worried about it. If you want to be a non-role player, like I said, that 6'4 is probably your go-to, because it's going to be a lot more offensively involved. But anyway, as far as the ego lock right here, this is the true blue fight through, man. This is the absolute, like, speed, agility, strength, the Prim D on 97 with Hall of Fame badges everywhere. Still good interior. I did have 78 block on this build. I think it is probably the most affordable, reasonable thing to put up. The offensive rebound could go up quite a bit if you would like, but I mean, for the most part, we just have the 62 D board because it's tied to the interior defense, and it's enough for the Box Out Beast and Rebound Chaser when you hit the 60. So that's the only reason it's there. Other than that, speed with ball is only up just because of speed being so high, but you also do get the Silver Lightning launch for being 75 speed with ball. Overall, I would say it's probably most useful to put your extra attributes into the block rating. Other than that, you only get like, you know, 8 standing dunk. I'd like to think just getting 78 block, even though we don't have the vertical for the Silver High Flying Denier, would probably be your best bet in terms of the investment. Yeah, if you, for those who are wondering, if you put more into interior defense, it forces the rebound up more, and it just becomes tough to afford. So overall, that's why you see the final product of what we have right here. So once again, low pass ac, it's at 50, you know, it is what it is, bro. I mean, it's obviously, like I said, meant to be a role player, and that's just the true nature of it. 83 three-pointer, really nice. You get that bronze limitless range, obviously. The silver set shot still came with like 78, so it's nothing super crazy in terms of the badge investment, but you will still get really good jump shots, obviously, with an 83 rating, and you can definitely make a lot more of those work. The SIGs are decent. Overall, though, we're here for the defense. 97 Prim for the Hall of Fame On-Ball Menace, Hall of Fame Pick Dodger, and then the Legend Immovable Enforcer paired with Hall of Fame everything else. You still got the Hoff Interceptor and the Gold Glove. And then once again, at 6'6", I would probably recommend to use your Max Plus one in the Tier 2 on Paint Patroller. Again, it's just kind of something that naturally happens where a lot of the things that aren't related to what your build's supposed to be good at are usually what you can use for the Tier 2 uses. I mean, there's not a whole lot to pick from out here in the world of like people that are 6'9" and below. It generally just works out that way where really all you can ever bank on is Box Out Beast, you know, Immovable Enforcer, and then Paint Patroller as well for like 6'8" and below builds. So again, I'd think, you know, Silver Paint Patroller, that's still pretty respectable. You get Hall of Fame badges everywhere. Use your Max Plus one on something along the lines of Set Shot, or, you know, like again, interceptor, challenger, on-ball menace, stuff like that, or pick dodger in this case would be pretty fire because now you're at that Hall of Fame level. Legend pick dodger on a 92 speed, 87 agility, 92 strength, heavy 6'6", that's just fighting through everything. I mean, it could be pretty tough, and it's still somewhat switchable. So again, you have good strength and bronze box out beast. You're not getting the rebound, but you could still be capable of landing the box outs, and even if people have to worm around you, it still slows the big man down from getting to his, you know, desired destination and stuff like that. So overall, as much as it doesn't look switchable, it probably could pull it off even still, because you can still stay in the lanes a little bit on those bigs when you do have to switch on. So it's not perfect, it's not desirable, but with your ability to fight through the screens a whole lot more on a build like this, it obviously is going to be in those situations a whole lot more rare. So anyway, again, solid three-pointer, very good perimeter defense. I just wanted to show you an ego lock sort of deal, and then to just come back one more time to the 6'4" for those who maybe, you know, were skipping through or kind of forgot about it. This is also a really good offensive option, in my opinion, to be an elite shooter. Never have to worry about being doinky. I mean, you're just going to be coming out here being automatic from three in the corner with a 95 three-pointer. You know how few people in this game have the luxury of doing something like this where you can spot up with a 95 three and still be an impact on the court because you have elite defense? This is a pretty rare build, man, and I think it actually has a very longevity play in this year's game. For sure. Also, in case you guys didn't know, I'm pairing with NBA 2K Labs again this year. So you can use my code Laker at checkout for 20% off of any subscription link that you decide to go for. Obviously, what you're going to find on here is going to be really useful information that we're showing all across the whole screen right now, but mainly to be talked about is obviously the jump shot data. So the guys are cool enough to let me show you the information from the 2K24 premium jumper data. If you want the access to the 25 year, you'd obviously have to subscribe to their premium and, you know, using my code as well if you would like. But as you can see, like, we have them sorted by speed right here. You can sort by every one of these different individual categories right here between the fastest millisecond jump shots. You can sort that by your individual height between the guards, wings, and bigs. You can sort by speed, green window, the early, middle, and late end of the green window as well, and then the total accumulation of all of that. And I mean, that's how I came to the conclusion that Terrence Mann was a really good base last year, combining all that information. Crazy stuff. So again, to be able to find something like this in 25, you would be able to just sign up for the premium. So what you're going to do when you're ready to sign up, you would just come over here and click register with whatever length of subscription you'd like to go for. After you hit register, it'll ask you to put in a promo code. You just put in Laker when you hit apply coupon right here, and boom, you're looking good. With code Laker, you're going to get 20% off your subscription. If you guys would like to help me out, I get a percentage based off your initial purchase only. So a recurring bill, like if you get a 1 month subscription, I only get the 1 month that you sign up for initially, and then anything past that, I don't. So if you do plan to go for like a 3 or a 6 or even a year-long subscription, feel free to just, you know, do that if you want to support me. But I understand not everybody wants to go for that, so it's all good if you don't. Anyway, appreciate you guys for watching. Let's get back to the video. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all good stuff. And like always, try to win 2,000 likes. Made it to the end of the video, put lock or put your favorite height of these 3 builds in the comments. Search sports my way through 6'4", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", whatever you would like. So anyway, that's all for the video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.